Last year for us, the RS4 was a pretty big breakthrough with the wide sleeve that obviously gave us a tremendous amount of range and stability that we didn't have before. So that was a major development, and I think something that we saw in other companies also have seen the benefits of. This is one of the most common questions: is how much downhaul or how much outhaul to use, and that's almost an impossible question to answer. Best advice I can give somebody is go out there and spend the time on the water next to somebody, get a good tuning partner, and really learn what your equipment, not only your sail, but what your equipment's doing. Obviously, compared to a taller guy and a heavier guy, you want to use a little bit more downhaul and a slightly flatter sail. So that's pretty important. Don't try to rig as somebody like Antoine or Micah that's considerably heavier and taller. They're gonna need less downhaul and less twist on the sail than somebody that's lighter.
And use the correct mast, the mast that's recommended and that the sails have been designed around.
I guess adding downhaul will make you constantly going faster, as long as you don't start, when you start basically losing the angle, then you know you overdid it. But I would say the point is to be just about there. I mean, there is not something I can tell you it's 2.5 cm from somewhere there, but it's more about going on the water and comparing with somebody and marking the setting you was going the best on.
Me personally, I can't say. It's up to the individual. You just keep increasing the downhaul tension until you don't have enough rig tension to get the power you need. That's where you should start, because there's no way you're going to physically get it right unless you're used to doing it all the time and you know the technique of doing it. And if you use a tool, you'll be able to adjust your sail to a millimeter accuracy if you need to, and you'll be able to experiment a little bit with too much tension or just right, and that's how you learn about how your rig balances, and that's what brings you pleasure when you're sailing, is when the whole thing feels right.
Probably the best way to duplicate setting is to make marks on your, like on your sail where the wrinkle goes into up on the top, how far it goes into the sail, or, make little marks on your mast base and downhaul and stuff. But I'll pretty much go out, every day and try out my equipment, because almost every day my equipment feels different to me. So I'll go out and adjust it for the day. Go out well in advance of a race and play with my downhaul a little bit. And
make a note of it. If when you find a good downhaul position or something that you really like that day sailing, make a note of it so you can go back and repeat that same trim on the sail, because it's really important. You've spent a couple hours finding a trim on a sail, and then the next day you want to be able to duplicate that again, rather than having to go through the whole learning curve and say, oh, my sail doesn't feel good today. What was my setting from yesterday or last week when I went really good?
Regarding the batten tension, obviously you want a little bit more tension on the bottom battens compared to you don't want to over tension the top battens. But basic rule, it's as long as you manage to clean the sail up, that will be it. This automatically makes the bottom battens having more tension, because they require more that the foil is clean. So
just put tension on them until the wrinkles go away. Yeah. And you can vary the way the sail performs by putting on more or less batten tension. Yeah. If you are like Phil and these guys, they have different batten tips that they taper different ways, and they tension them different ways. It's the same thing. The whole secret of the sail is in the tension, completely.
This is how we came up with the new so-called three-piece batten, when we are using kind of two different tube sections back, so it's kind of the whole taper becomes way more progressive than using only like a rod and the stiff tube, where you always have like a big point where the rod joins the tube. Here we are going progressively from the rod that became much shorter, saving a lot of weight, through the middle tube, and then the back tube as a stiffer part that it's either in fiberglass or carbon, depending where in the sail and on which sail it's sitting.